Imagine finding love in the most unexpected way, through a simple texting mistake. Today, I want to share a heartwarming story about how one accidental emoji changed everything for two people who were meant to find each other. This is a tale of modern gay romance that reminds us how love often appears when we least expect it, sometimes hiding in plain sight among our everyday digital communications. In our hyper-connected world, where relationships often begin with swipes and likes, there's something uniquely charming about connections that form through genuine, unplanned moments. The story I'm about to tell you captures the essence of contemporary romance, filled with digital miscommunications, butterflies and stomach anticipation, and the beautiful awkwardness of realizing you might have feelings for someone you never expected to fall for. It's a reminder that even in our carefully curated online lives, authenticity and vulnerability still create the most meaningful connections. Before we dive into this delightful journey, let me set the stage for what you're about to hear. This story follows Alex, a 28-year-old graphic designer with a passion for vintage video games and a tendency to overthink every social interaction. When an accidental kiss emoji from his colleague Jordan leads to an unexpected invitation, Alex finds himself navigating the thrilling and terrifying territory of potential romance. We'll explore the anxieties, the excitement, the missteps, and ultimately, the courage it takes to pursue connection in a world where it's easier to hide behind screens than to be vulnerable face-to-face. Alex had always been the cautious type, methodical in his work designing promotional materials for a mid-sized marketing firm, and equally careful in his personal life. After a relationship that ended painfully 2 years ago, he'd retreated into the comfortable routine of work, his small circle of friends, and weekend gaming sessions. He wasn't unhappy, exactly, but there was a quiet loneliness he'd grown so accustomed to that he barely noticed it anymore. With warm brown eyes that crinkled when he laughed and a tendency to run his hand through his curly dark hair when nervous, Alex had a charm he wasn't fully aware of. He was the kind of person who remembered everyone's coffee orders and birthdays, who would drop everything to help a friend in need, but who rarely asked for anything in return. Jordan, on the other hand, was everything Alex wasn't: spontaneous, outgoing, and seemingly effortless in his confidence. As the newest addition to the company's copywriting team, Jordan had quickly become popular around the office with his quick wit and genuine interest in others. With bright blue eyes, an easy smile, and a collection of slightly quirky sweaters, he stood out in the otherwise conventional office environment. What most people didn't see was Jordan's thoughtful side, the careful consideration he put into his writing, the way he noticed small details about people, the quiet moments when his confident facade slipped to reveal someone who was still finding his footing in a new city, away from family and old friends. The two had worked together on several projects over the past few months, developing a comfortable professional rapport. Alex appreciated Jordan's creativity and the way he could translate Alex's visual concepts into compelling copy. They'd fallen into a routine of sending each other work-related messages throughout the day, occasionally veering into casual conversation about weekend plans or office gossip. It was friendly, but firmly in the colleague zone. At least that's what Alex told himself whenever he found himself looking forward to their interactions a bit too much. In Alex's life, his best friend Mia served as both his most enthusiastic cheerleader and his reality check. A kindergarten teacher with an uncanny ability to read people, Mia had known Alex since college and had supported him through every professional milestone and romantic disaster. "You need to put yourself out there again," she'd been telling him for months, to which Alex would typically respond with an eye roll and a change of subject. Then there was Alex's family, supportive but sometimes overbearing, especially his mother, who had recently taken to sending him links to dating apps, just in case you want to try something new, honey. It was a Tuesday afternoon when everything changed. Alex was deep in concentration, finalizing designs for a new client presentation, when his phone buzzed with a message from Jordan. It was supposed to be a simple response to Alex's question about a deadline, but there it was at the end of the text, a kiss emoji. Just one small symbol that sent Alex's mind racing. Was it intentional? A friendly gesture? Something more? Or just a mistake? His heart did an unexpected flip as he stared at the screen, unsure how to respond. Let me explain why this moment matters so much in our story. In the digital age, we've developed an entire emotional language through emojis, where a single symbol can carry layers of meaning. That kiss emoji existed in an ambiguous space, possibly friendly, possibly flirtatious. And in that ambiguity lay all the tension and possibility that makes early attraction so exhilarating. For Alex, who had carefully maintained emotional boundaries, This tiny digital kiss created a crack in his defenses, allowing him to acknowledge feelings he'd been suppressing. 3 minutes later, as Alex was still contemplating his response, another message from Jordan appeared. "Oh God, sorry about that emoji. Completely accidental. My niece was playing with my phone yesterday and apparently changed my keyboard shortcuts." Alex felt a mixture of relief and, surprisingly, disappointment. He typed back a casual, "No worries, happens to all of us," trying to ignore the slight deflation he felt. But then came the message that would change everything. Jordan replied, "Although now I'm wondering, would you be interested in returning it in person sometime? Maybe coffee this weekend?" Alex stared at his phone, reading and rereading the message. Was Jordan asking him out? The playful tone seemed to suggest it wasn't just a friendly colleague coffee. Alex's heart raced as he considered the implications. After 2 years of carefully avoiding any romantic entanglements, here was an opportunity literally texting him directly. His fingers hovered over the keyboard as conflicting emotions battled within him. The anxiety came first. What if he was misreading the situation? What if it went badly and made their work relationship awkward? What if Jordan was just being friendly and Alex made a fool of himself by assuming more? But beneath the anxiety was something else: excitement, possibility, the first fluttering of something he hadn't felt in a long time. Alex did what any sensible overthinker would do. He screenshot the conversation and immediately sent it to Mia with a string of panicked emojis. Her response was immediate. "Say yes, you idiot. This is the universe literally sending you a sign via emoji." After 20 minutes of deliberation that felt like hours, Alex finally replied with what he hoped was the right balance of casual and interested. "I'd like that. Saturday at Cornerstone Cafe? Around 2. The three dots appeared and disappeared several times before Jordan's answer came through. "Perfect. It's a date. Or not a date. Unless you want it to be. No pressure either way." The awkward clarification made Alex smile. Maybe Jordan was nervous too. The days leading up to Saturday were a blur of anticipation and second-guessing for Alex. He found himself paying more attention to Jordan at work, noticing things he hadn't before. The way Jordan's eyes lit up when he talked about a project he was passionate about, how he always brought coffee for the receptionist on Monday mornings, the small rainbow pin on his laptop bag that Alex had somehow never registered before. By Friday night, Alex was in full crisis mode about what to wear. It's coffee, not a royal wedding. Mia reminded him over the phone as he described every outfit option in his closet. Wear something that makes you feel confident but comfortable. And for the love of everything, stop overthinking this. He already likes you enough to ask you out. We don't know it's a date for sure, Alex reminded her, though the possibility had been consuming his thoughts. The man literally asked you to return a kiss emoji in person, Mia said flatly. If that's not flirting, I don't know what is. Saturday arrived with perfect early autumn weather, sunny but cool enough for the light blue sweater Alex had finally decided on after much deliberation. He arrived at the cafe 15 minutes early, a habit from his perpetually punctual nature, and chose a table by the window. The Cornerstone was his favorite local coffee shop, with its mismatched vintage furniture and excellent pastries. He'd suggested it partly because the familiar environment might help calm his nerves, though as he sat waiting, checking his watch every 30 seconds, he wasn't sure anything could accomplish that. Jordan arrived 5 minutes early, looking slightly windswept, and carrying a small paper bag from the bookstore next door. When he spotted Alex, his face broke into a wide smile that immediately eased some of Alex's tension. "You beat me here," Jordan said, sliding into the chair opposite. "I should have known you'd be punctual." "Occupational hazard," Alex replied. "Deadlines are deeply ingrained in my psyche at this point." "I brought something," Jordan said, pushing the bookstore bag across the table. "It's silly, but I saw it and thought of you." Inside was a small enamel pin shaped like a vintage game controller. "You mentioned being into retro gaming that time we were waiting for the client call to start," Jordan explained, looking slightly embarrassed. "I saw it and, well, I thought it might be your thing." The thoughtfulness of the gesture caught Alex off guard. It was such a small detail from a conversation weeks ago, but Jordan had remembered and acted on it. "This is perfect," Alex said sincerely. "Thank you. I'm surprised you remembered the conversation." Jordan's smile turned slightly shy. "I tend to remember things about people I find interesting." And just like that, the initial awkwardness melted away. They ordered coffee and shared a slice of the cafe's famous lemon cake, conversation flowing more easily than Alex had anticipated. They discovered shared tastes in music and films, debated the merits of different coffee brewing methods, and laughed about office politics. Jordan talked about growing up in a small conservative town and finding his community when he moved to college, while Alex shared stories about his close-knit but sometimes overwhelming family. So, Jordan said eventually, after they'd been talking for over an hour, about that emoji I owe you. Alex felt his cheeks warm. You know, I'm still not entirely convinced that was an accident. That's quite a keyboard shortcut your niece supposedly programmed. Jordan laughed, leaning forward slightly. Would it be better or worse if I admitted it might have been a subconscious slip? I've been trying to figure out how to ask you out for weeks. Weeks? Alex couldn't hide his surprise. Why didn't you say anything? I wasn't sure if you were interested, or even available, or if workplace dating was a terrible idea. I'm still not entirely sure about that last one, to be honest. Alex considered this. I think it depends on the workplace and the people involved. And what do you think about our specific case? Jordan asked, his tone light but his eyes serious. In that moment, looking at Jordan across the table, Alex made a decision to be braver than he'd been in a long time. I think I'd regret it if we didn't find out. The smile that spread across Jordan's face was worth every moment of anxiety Alex had experienced leading up to this moment. In that case, Jordan said, reaching across the table to take Alex's hand, I should probably return that emoji properly. Their first kiss happened later that afternoon, walking through the park after leaving the cafe. It was gentle and brief, but it carried the promise of something more, something worth exploring. As they continued their walk, hands occasionally brushing against each other until Jordan finally took Alex's hand in his, Alex felt a sense of possibility he hadn't experienced in years. The following weeks brought a new dimension to their relationship. At work, they maintained professionalism, though Alex caught himself smiling whenever Jordan walked into a meeting. Outside of work, they discovered each other slowly, movie nights at Alex's apartment where they paid more attention to each other than the screen, dinners where conversations lasted until restaurants were closing, weekend hikes where they talked about everything from childhood memories to future dreams. Jordan introduced Alex to his small but close group of friends at a game night, where Alex's competitive Scrabble skills earned him immediate acceptance. Alex brought Jordan to Sunday dinner with his family, nervous about their sometimes overwhelming enthusiasm, but needlessly so. His mother took to Jordan immediately, insisting he take home leftovers and already treating him like part of the family. But the course of true love never did run smooth, as they say. About 2 months into their relationship, the first real challenge appeared. Alex's ex, Daniel, reached out after nearly 2 years of silence, saying he was in town and wanted to meet for closure. Alex mentioned it casually to Jordan, not thinking much of it, but Jordan's reaction surprised him. Are you going to see him? Jordan asked, his voice carefully neutral in a way that immediately signaled to Alex that this wasn't a casual question. I thought I might, Alex said. It ended messily, and I've always regretted that. Right? Jordan said, still in that too casual tone. That makes sense. You're upset, Alex observed. I'm not upset, Jordan insisted, though everything about his body language suggested otherwise. You should do what you need to do. What followed was their first real argument, not about Daniel specifically, but about communication and insecurity. It turned out Jordan had been hurt before by someone who went back to an ex, and while he trusted Alex, old wounds were surfacing. Alex, for his part, realized he'd been insensitive in how he presented the situation, not considering how it might appear from Jordan's perspective. The argument lasted into the night, with moments of hurt feelings and misunderstandings, but also breakthrough moments of vulnerability. Jordan admitted his fear of not being enough, of being someone's second choice. Alex shared how Daniel's emotional manipulation had left him doubting his own judgment for years. By midnight, they were exhausted but closer, having seen parts of each other they'd been keeping hidden. I don't need to see Daniel, Alex said finally. That chapter of my life is closed. I was thinking it might help him, but honestly, that's not my responsibility anymore. Jordan shook his head. No, you should go if you want to. I trust you. I'm sorry I reacted the way I did. How about this? Alex suggested. I'll meet him for a quick coffee, get the closure, and then I'm taking you out for dinner afterward. Because you're not my past, Jordan. You're very much my present. And hopefully my future too. The meeting with Daniel was anticlimactic in the end. A brief, somewhat awkward conversation that confirmed for Alex how much he had grown and moved on. Daniel seemed stuck in the same patterns that had ultimately ended their relationship, and Alex left feeling grateful for the journey that had led him to where he was now. That evening, over dinner with Jordan, Alex realized something important. You know, if you hadn't accidentally sent that emoji, we might still just be colleagues who occasionally chat about work. Jordan smiled, reaching for Alex's hand across the table. I've been thinking about that too. How the smallest things can change everything. One tiny digital kiss leading to this. To us. Alex agreed, squeezing Jordan's hand. 6 months after the emoji incident, as they came to call it, Alex and Jordan were spending a lazy Sunday morning in Jordan's apartment. They'd reached that comfortable stage of relationship where silence felt as natural as conversation, where they could exist in the same space without needing to fill every moment with words. I have something for you, Jordan said suddenly, reaching for his phone. Alex looked up from his book. What is it? Jordan typed something, and a moment later, Alex's phone buzzed with a notification. It was a message from Jordan containing a single emoji, a heart. What's this for? Alex asked, smiling. Just wanted to see if you'd return it in person, Jordan replied with a grin, echoing the words that had started their journey together. Alex set his book aside and moved across the couch to where Jordan sat. I think that can be arranged, he said, leaning in for a kiss that still felt as exciting as their first. Their story reminds us that love often begins in unexpected ways, sometimes through grand gestures, sometimes through chance meetings, and sometimes through a simple texting mistake that turns out to be exactly right. In our digital age, where we're constantly connected yet often feeling disconnected, it's worth remembering that genuine connection can spark anywhere, even through an accidental emoji. For Alex and Jordan, that kiss emoji became the first chapter in their ongoing story, one filled with morning coffee debates, late-night conversations, occasional disagreements, and countless moments of joy and understanding. It's a reminder that modern romance, for all its digital complications, still comes down to the same fundamental elements that have always defined love: courage, vulnerability, communication, and the willingness to take a chance on someone who might just change your life. And sometimes, just sometimes, the universe conspires to bring people together in the most unexpected ways, like an accidental emoji that leads to a coffee date that leads to love. So the next time your finger slips while texting, who knows? It might just be the beginning of your own love story. Total _char_count, 17,861.